It's Thursday, January 7th, and time for your Barbados Today Morning News Update. Head of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Ed Clark, does not believe there is a need for a national lockdown despite the current COVID-19 situation. However, if health authorities fail in their bid to control the spiking cases on the island, then he would be open to such a move. His comments come in the wake of calls from several quarters for a full lockdown.
There are health experts who would feel that way. I think if you consider this from a health situation, I think most health people would say so. But if you're looking at it from a national situation where you have to keep a country afloat and keep people employed and keep this country going, you need to balance the situation. That's why I'm saying it is important that we try to find out where we are, and it's important that government keeps us informed on a daily basis where there are, based on the COVID, the expansion of the cases and so on, the increase in cases. And there must be assessing this daily, or not even daily, more often than that, I would imagine. There's no doubt that there's a clamor for people to want to have a shutdown. And we need to assess the situation on a daily basis and see what's going to happen. Randy, it is important that people do what the government's asked them to do. We need to manage our own careful situation. Stay home if you don't need to go anywhere. Let the essential services continue to work. Let people continue to work that need to work. And sanitize and mask up and let's keep our social distance and do as much as we can. If the results are not what we would like them to be as a country, we would have, I think as a country, we need to get together and social partnership with the government and decide, well, this is something that needs to be reassessed and move on from there. I don't think that the government feels that is necessary at this time. And we await further instructions and further results of the testing.
Clark said while businesses would have been negatively impacted by the 2 bank holidays on Monday and Tuesday, the private sector was in full support of the decision.
It is early days still. I think we need to be patient. We need to understand what they're trying to do. And let us wait and see what is going to happen. I am not jumping in there to make any assessment on whether or not the first 2 days is enough at this stage. I am waiting to see what's happening on the health side.
Meanwhile, 2 of Barbados's major retail stores agree that the recent 2-day closure was a small price to pay considering the significant increase of COVID-19 cases on the island. Both store location manager at Cape Shepherd, Mark Clark, and managing director of Abed's, Eddie Abed, told Barbados Today the safety of Barbadians was of utmost importance. Clark said while Cape Shepherd would have lost revenue from being closed both days, it was for a greater good.
Well, obviously there would have been a loss of trade, seeing that all of our stores would have been closed, but all for the right reasons, because we always were in sync with the government and their protocols and what they advise. So obviously it was a loss of revenue, but it was all for the right reasons.
Abed was also of the view that the 2-day shutdown was more than about money.
To be closed and not have any revenue for 2 days will in fact hurt us, but at the end of the day it's a small price to pay. We were closed for close to 2 months last year, and I don't want to ever have to go back to that. So this is a very small price to pay. The priority that we've had here is to make sure that our staff are in as best position as possible in terms of health and comfortable to perform their duties. So we've asked all of our staff who've been in contact with anyone who may have been tested positive recently or have dropped their guard with the protocols to go and have themselves tested. And by and large, most have done that. Thankfully, nobody has come back with a positive test as yet, and that makes us happy. We've had our stores sanitized over the last 2 days.
At the same time, the National Union of Public Workers is moving full steam ahead to ensure that public workers are protected amidst a surge of COVID-19 cases. In a statement released yesterday, NUPW President Akani McDowell said union officials met with personnel from the Ministry of the Civil Service to discuss matters pertaining to the safety of public servants. He said also included in the discussions was the possibility of persons working from home.
The union met with the Ministry of Civil Service officials and the Director General from the Ministry of Public Service to discuss those departments and areas allowed to work from at home during the emergency period. At the meeting, we also looked at the health protocols that need to be in place for those officers who cannot work from at home. Overall, the meeting was cordial and the ministry promised to send this information as soon as possible. The union is also following up on the government's response to those departments with primary and secondary contacts. The public and the members can rest assured that the NUPW will continue to ensure that public officers during this period are kept safe.
There is much hope for an improved sugar harvest this year despite the unfavorable business climate due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Both public and private sector stakeholders are upbeat about production for the 2021 crop, which is expected to start in mid-February. Chairman of the Barbados Sugar Industry Limited, Mark Silly, said this country is forecasting a 15% increase in sugarcane output. Silly, who represented the independent cane farmers, said workers produced about 91,000 tons of cane last year. Now, chairman of the state-run Barbados Agricultural Management Company, Winston Best, is also optimistic about output for this year's crop. However, he was not in a position to provide statistics on projected production of cane or sugar. Agriculture Minister Indawe has promised an update next week.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, Grenada cremates the body of its first COVID-19 related death in accordance with the protocols set out by health officials. We get the details in this report from GBN News.
The announcement came Sunday through a press release that a 72-year-old male who arrived in Grenada on December 16th has died from COVID-19. The ministry, according to the chief medical officer, is treating this latest COVID case as an imported case. Minister for Health Nicholas Steele says health officials decided that cremation be adopted to avoid contamination and possible spread of the disease.
There is a protocol in place. The family has cooperated fully. We give support to that. And I have been in direct communication with family members to express my support, my condolences, and will continue to be. But with respect to a COVID-19 related death, the procedure is, and the protocol is, cremation.
The deceased, who first had a negative result, was medically cleared. However, on day 11, developed symptoms of the virus, which according to the acting chief medical officer, Dr. Sean Charles, was still within the incubation period.
On the international front, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence on Wednesday night condemned the deadly violence that erupted as Congress met to certify President-elect Joe Biden's presidential win. According to international media reports, at least 4 people died and 52 were arrested as supporters of President Donald Trump violently occupied the U.S. Capitol.
And we will always be grateful. The men and women who stayed at their posts to defend this historic place. To those who wreaked havoc in our capital today, you did not win. Violence never wins. Freedom wins. And this is still the people's house. And as we reconvene in this chamber, the world will again witness the resilience and strength of our democracy For even in the wake of unprecedented violence and vandalism at this Capitol, the elected representatives of the people of the United States have assembled again on the very same day to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So may God bless the lost, the injured, and the heroes forged on this day. May God bless all who serve here and those who protect this place. And may God bless the United States of America. Let's get back to work.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.